Hello one, hello all, it is the gothiest ghost of them all, Caspa in the flesh, and it's time for a review of Underscore's Wall Socket. This is the sophomore album from electronic artist April Gray Harper, and to be honest, there is a lot to take in here, whether it is the style of music or whether it's the overall concept of this album, because as far as styles go, you're getting hyperpop, you're getting indie-tronica, you're getting pop-punk, electropop. So it's safe to say she falls under the electronic umbrella, as she gives you these views, these stories of this fictional town, Wall Socket, Michigan. And with a lot of world building as the foundation of this album, it does not go without purpose. With quite a few characters, you got Sanai, you got Jordan, you got Mara, oh Mara, and you got Johnny, yes we will get to that guy. And trust me, I do love a lot of things about this album, but aside from how I love the conceptual focus, aside how I love the insane, intricate production that's on here, the lyrics and the vocals go hand in hand here. It's like the color, the power in the production, and the futuristic emo vocals have these theatrical tone to them that just creates scenes in my mind. It's so visual and it's just so tangible. And you certainly get that on Old Money Bitch, which we will get into later. And the album kicks off with an explosive, catchy opener, Cops and Robbers, with this driving guitar line, punchy drums, infectious carefree hook. When's the last time you seen someone with a ski mask and a gun? And basically saying in order to commit the perfect crime, in order to commit the perfect theft, you have to do it within the system because the whole ski mask and gun thing is pretty played out. As this fictional derelict bank teller tells you about how he's committed embezzlement for this bank he's worked for over a decade now. It's a wild story, definitely a fun ride. This whole album is a fun ride, but definitely one I won't spoil for you, but I can give you summaries here and there, and all I have to say is good luck, which is certainly a phrase that does play in here a lot through this album, but in the end it all makes sense, it all ties together. Next we have the mischievous Local Girls Like Us, that has a plethora of rattled off words just panning channel to channel that I definitely feel correlating to the concept of this album, that goes into a plethora of just rattling off parts of the human anatomy that carries over into this pumping bass and drums. Kind of reminds me of Daft Punk's Technologic. And this is where we're introduced to Mara and Sunny. Sunny being a trans woman, but she's also very religious on top of that. And there's Mara, who is absolutely obsessed with her. And Sunny pretty much wants nothing to do with her. And with Mara being so obsessed with Sunny, she has taken the questionnaire over 700 times just to match up her answers with Sunny, while Sunny has never taken the questionnaire at all. And you may also be wondering, how did the bank robbery with the embezzlement tie into the story? Basically, it had like a whole effect on the town, and now the girls are just trying to figure out life within the circumstance that this town has been derailed with. But as far as the production on this track goes, I think it's great. Over these distorted guitar bits that break down into these sunburnt guitars that go into these panoramic group vocals. And then we get Duh, which is pretty ambiguous to its topic because Sunny has been diagnosed with this disease, a very rare disease, but on here she is looking to God, asking God for subtlety next time because this thing has just hit her immensely and she's immensely hurt on this track. And the production paints it perfectly with this woozy, atmospheric layers of production, to a static drum progression, to this intense finish with this distorted wall of sound with drums just crashing against it, with this beautiful wailing harmonica coming in over this huge wall of static going in smoothly to the next track, You Don't Even Know Who I Am, where we get this animated vocal sample trying to uplift, saying like, everyone has bad days, don't worry, always tomorrow. where Mara just goes into this single white female shit as she sings somberly over this melancholic bass guitar line, which paints the picture of just how obsessed she is about her, breaking into her house, wearing her clothes, crying her makeup off, knowing everything about her while Sunny really knows nothing about Mara. And I think there creates a deep contrast here as Sunny is having the worst day of her life while Mara was having the worst day of her life but pretending to be her, and with Sunny being in the unfortunate predicament she is, her pain is something that Mara has an unfortunate infatuation with, and living in her pain and living in the pain of her shoes is what brings Mara joy. It's fucked, but very compelling at the same time. And then we get Johnny, 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 where we get like hits of Paramore meets Vanity 6, as Sunny runs into this guy who is a total creepo. But I won't spoil the outcome of how she unveils this unfortunate truth, but I do think the song could have used a bit less repetition, because the Johnny, 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 Johnny refrain gets kind of grating after a while, but not a horrible track, but not one of my favorites here. And I do think the middle part hits a bit of a lull, and it's a shame too, because while I think they bring up some important topics here, there is just not a good execution of pacing of these tracks, be it Shoot to Kill, Kill Your Darlings, where it is a compelling premise. I just think the progression of the track becomes really tedious after a while. And I kind of feel the same way about Horror Movie Soundtrack. It's not bad, but the winding progression of the song definitely made me want more of a thrilling conclusion. Then you got Old Money Bitch, which is a Great Gatsby reference to describe someone that is rich by inheritance, not something they've earned, and how they have all this privilege to get away with most things that most people who haven't been born into inheritance would be severely punished for. But then you do realize that with this privilege that Mara has pointed out, she too is not without judgment, as she pretty much tries to get the point across, while this person may not look like they were born into wealth, they definitely are. And the hook is immensely catchy. Old money bitch. And the la 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 refrains are super fun. I kind of picture like Mara and the group of girls just dancing around in a circle, just taunting this woman, with a super powerful theatrical bridge that goes into this spoken word piece from Mara that bursts into this exuberant chiptune passage that I just can't get enough of. After that we get Geez Louise, which is probably the most vocally unhinged track on here, and probably the most multifaceted track on here, featuring Hen House with this repetitious melodic hook. He's just like me, she's just like me, with these scream-shouted group vocals, with these distorted blaring guitar breaks over these power drums. It's like hardcore hyper pop punk. It's kind of like 100 Gex meets Otoboke Beaver, if you could imagine that. With this bluesy strummed guitar passage, kind of sounds Black Keysy in a way, as this shrill electric guitar kicks in that goes into this shrill array of shoegazy instrumentation, as I believe Hen House is like screaming their brains out over this thing. These blissful keys with this white noise just showering down on me. As Snai and Jordan are finding similarities, both religious, but both are members of a group that have experienced a lot of oppression and a lot of discrimination throughout the course of their lives and the course of their people's lives. With Sunny being transgender and Jordan being Catholic, they're really drawing similarities here, and I would say the album does end off strong and definitely does tie the narrative together with Good Luck Girl, how the girls are basically on a train. The train symbolizes a maturity that they have gone through the course of time, as this album is realizing oneself, trying to figure yourself out. And I think Sunny has realized she does not need certain people in her lives, and she has reached this point of maturity. And the train, I believe, symbolizes growth, as the train that they're on is basically their last ride together. So this could be metaphoric, or this could be literal. But yeah, I think it wraps up the album very nicely. And overall, I really dug this album. I loved it. Sure, there are some tracks that did need a little more development, a little more progression, but overall, I think this album delivers a very strong message. I think that conceptually it flows very well, and also emotionally compelling at that, sonically creative, and vocals are really passionate, have a lot of character, and I feel they take their influences and morph them into an intricate way to add to the elements of each song. So yeah, love this album. I'm feeling a 4 out of 5 on this. If you've given this a listen, what did you think? Did you love it? Did you hate it? Why? And that's it. Caspa, Gothic Ghost, underscores, wall socket, till we meet again.